Moving on now to a major fight pertaining to Nigeria's energy security, which could have ripple effects across Western Africa. Africa's richest man is turning up the heat on Nigerian energy regulators. Aliko Dangote, a Nigerian businessman, is openly taking on authorities, accusing them of flooding the market with cheap fuel imports. He says this move is strangling the local industry, while also threatening jobs, investments and Nigeria's energy security. And now he is demanding an official probe. So here is the backdrop. Nigeria is Africa's biggest oil producer, but for years it has relied heavily on imported fuels as Abuja's state-owned refineries struggled to function effectively. Dangote's massive refinery in Lagos was meant to change that. At full capacity, it can process around 650,000 barrels of oil a day. That number is big enough to end fuel imports and save Nigeria billions in foreign exchange. Now, Dangote claims the promise that is under threat. Speaking at his refinery on Sunday, Dangote accused regulators of flooding the market with cheap imported fuel. He said imports were being used to quote-unquote checkmate domestic potential. Dangote says his refinery cannot secure enough Nigerian crude oil, and that is despite a rule that requires local refiners to be supplied before crude is exported to other countries. The Nigerian businessman says that rule is not being enforced, and as a result, the refinery imports around 100 million barrels of crude oil each year, a figure he claims could only double if the refinery expands. And because of all this, Dangote has called for an official inquiry into Farouk Ahmed, the head of Nigeria's midstream and downstream petroleum regulatory authority. This is Nigeria's oil regulatory body. Dangote alleges mismanagement of the energy sector and questions personal spending by Ahmed, alleging it to be corrupt. The regulator hasn't responded to Dangote's allegations yet, but he has previously said Dangote's refinery wants a monopoly on fuel sales. But the regulatory fight is only part of this story. This dispute has also played out in court. Dangote filed a lawsuit against the regulator and Nigeria's state oil company. It challenged the issuance of fuel import licenses at a time when local refining capacity was coming online. He later withdrew the case, but the withdrawal didn't end the dispute. In October, tensions spilled into the streets. Nigeria's oil workers' union launched a nationwide strike after Dangote's refinery let go more than 800 staff members. The strike shut off offices of the oil regulator and the state oil company. Fuel supply across parts of West Africa was reportedly at risk. And Nigeria's power sector also took a hit. Reports suggest electricity output dropped by more than 1,000 megawatts. Fuel shortages also forced the operators to enforce power cuts. All of this while talks between unions, government officials and the refinery ended in a stalemate. And while these battles play out at the top, ordinary Nigerians are feeling the impact. Reports suggest fuel prices have gone up even after Dangote refinery has entered the market. The billionaire cites the rise in international crude oil prices as the main cause for the surge in fuel prices. The result, more pain at the pump for normal Nigerians struggling to make ends meet. Economists say Dangote refinery still matters, and its success or failure could reshape Nigeria's energy future.
I think Dangote
Refinery is coming at the nick of time. Nigerians have lost hope in NNPC being able to supply the market alone.
As a sole buyer.
Geopolitically, the implications are huge. Nigeria's fuel imports drain their foreign reserves. Any disruption can affect trade routes and supply chain in West Africa. And investor confidence in Africa's biggest oil producer is closely watched by the global energy markets. All of this could slow industrialization when Africa needs energy independence. This feud is more than a domestic dispute. It's a test for Africa's biggest economy to align their private sector with public regulation. Dangote says he'll keep fighting, but what happens next depends on the regulators overlooking Nigeria's energy sector. We'll keep tracking all of the developments on Firstpost Africa.
They promised glory. They delivered fear. They shaped nations. They scar generations. From brutal purges to propaganda machines, from stolen power to violent falls from the throne. Welcome to The Dictator, a series that strips away the myth and then exposes the men behind the tyranny. History remembers their power. Firstpost reveals their truth.